over the next 20 years, it's predicted that we'll be seeing the largest wealth transfer between generations in history. What kind of a role do you expect family offices to play in that?
It's very difficult to get rich, but it is also very difficult to stay rich. That's where family offices will come in very handy.
For a deeper understanding of how family offices are reshaping financial systems and access to capital, we are joined from the United Kingdom by Sergio Belza. He's the CEO of Aneto Capital, based in Hong Kong. He is also an adjunct associate professor at National Sun Yat-sen University in Kaohsiung, Taiwan. Great to have you on the program. Let me start with setting the scene here. Tell us, what is a family office? What does it look like? And can anyone start a family office?
Well, first of all, thank you very much for the invitation. It's a pleasure for me to be here today. To answer your question, the two questions. So firstly, a family office is basically what the name says. It's an office for a family. It's an office that manages the affairs, usually of one single family. And this leads to your second question. Can anybody build a family office? Theoretically, yes, but a family office is expensive. So typically, anybody can do it, but it is typically done by families that have the resources and the needs for their wealth to be professionally managed.
Okay, so the modern concept of the family office began with wealthy families in the US. We're talking about the Rockefellers and the JP Morgan family. Now, from a historical and institutional perspective, how have family offices here in Asia evolved? Does it mirror what happened, how it's grown in the US, or does it have its own very distinct style?
I would say that eventually family offices started in Europe with very old money. And as of today, they manage money that has been in the family for many generations, and sometimes in Europe, more than 6, 8, 10 generations. In the US, you are very right. It's also old money, maybe a little bit newer, but still old money in the perspective of multi-generational wealth transfer. With a higher risk appetite and maybe more heavily focused on endowment models like the Yale Endowment Fund, like the Harvard Endowment Fund. So that kind of very diversified endowment model with philanthropy. In Asia, to get to your question, it's different because the wealth creation has been more recent. We are talking about generation 1, generation 2. So firstly, it is at earlier stages of generational transfer. Secondly, in Asia, the wealth is often sticky and it's tied up in the operating businesses of these families. So it's quite different.
Is it possible to put a general figure on it to try to understand what kind of wealth these family offices, like a range of wealth that these family offices manage in Asia in particular?
The aggregate figures is in the trillions of dollars. I would say probably in Asia, including Hong Kong, Singapore, it's between 2.5 and 3 trillion US dollars. Have a look. Singapore alone has more than 2,000 single family offices, not multi-family offices that would add on top of this number, but 2,000. And I think I read somewhere that Hong Kong was close to 2,800 or 3,000 single family offices, and this is being promoted very much. So to answer your questions, if you look at the regional hubs in Asia, being Singapore, Hong Kong, arguably Taiwan, to a certain extent, it's a large portion of wealth and GDP.
Taiwan is a relatively late adopter of the formal family office model compared to hubs like Singapore and Hong Kong, but it is rapidly catching up with these financial centers in per capita wealth. Now, in 2025, the estimated total value of the high net worth group in Taiwan reached 1.8 trillion US dollars, showing a 17% annual growth rate, all adjusted for inflation. With a disproportionately large number of Taiwan's heavyweight companies either family-owned or family-managed, Sergio, why haven't we seen a correlated growth, or are we seeing a correlated growth in family offices?
Taiwan is a complex country when it comes to regulations, when it comes to cross-border, when it comes to reporting standards. So a lot of family offices in Taiwan remain very private. And I would say, of course, this is difficult for me to know because this information is again very private. It's not available. There are no statistics on this. But my feeling is that they remain very close to the family business and to the corporation. Therefore, many of the investments that they conduct within this complex regulatory framework that I was referring to before are strategic decisions. So Taiwan, as you know, is an export country, extremely international. Well, first of all, the education in Taiwan is often conducted abroad. So we see many kids of clients and also other people who study abroad in the US, in the UK, etc. So I would dare to say that in Taiwan, there is sometimes or often, and this is quite unique to Taiwan, a dual hub strategy. So in other words, like having a base in two different places. So you can use the corporate activity and the strategic positioning of the Taiwan corporation abroad to eventually also send some family members over there and give back to the family office and to the investment angle, give it a more diversified and a more interesting investment approach by having two hubs. And the good thing is that those two hubs, or maybe three hubs, they usually have substance. So there are offices there, there are family members moving there, etc.
Yeah, you mentioned the kids of clients, and over the next 20 years, it's predicted that we'll be seeing the largest wealth transfer between generations in history. And what do you expect? What kind of a role do you expect family offices to play in that?
Well, massive, because it's very difficult to get rich, but it is also very difficult to stay rich. And that might sound awkward, but we've seen loss of wealth within generational transfer very fast and very easily, often because the next generations are not ready or are not willing to do the same kind of work that the first or second generation were doing. You know, there is a say in English that says from short sleeves to short sleeves in 3 generations. Short sleeves meaning working hard. The first generation works very hard, and the third or fourth generation again needs to work very hard because the money has been lost, right? I think there is an Asian proverb that is similar, like wealth does not pass 3 generations or something like that. Now, that's where family offices will come in very handy to avoid this problem. There are different ways to avoid the problem. One is education, of course. Other solutions are IPOs, initial public offerings, where all of a sudden you have corporate governance that helps organize all this and helps to preserve the shareholder value over time, because that's what happens typically when you do an IPO. Implement clear rules or a family constitution for the intergenerational succession. One example of this is, I think this is a public case, a Filipino family from Cebu. and they have a family constitution already for, 10 generations, and it works very well. This is a case study, by the way, in many Ivy and in many MBA programs. So family offices become very important because, bear in mind, typically the second or third generation in 80% of the cases, they do not want to take over the factory from the first generation. So we need to make sure that transfer happens smoothly. Are we really just doing the right thing? And doing the right thing is right. It's evolving from the traditional philanthropy model where I give something to someone as a gift and we stop there, to rather dimensions of impact investing. And I think that's key. And I think it's actually very good. Personally, impact investing being we give something to someone, and this is oversimplified. So we give wealth to certain communities or certain institutions. And it doesn't stop there. It's impact investing. So we train them to do the right thing with that wealth so that they can survive for the decades to come. And we can all even have a good return from doing so. It's a bit like giving a fish or teaching how to fish. So giving a fish would be philanthropy. Impact investing would be teaching how to fish, and eventually ended up with a fishing factory, whatever, that belongs with everybody. And by doing so, you would have benefited not only the receiver of the wealth, but also the provider of the wealth. And it's like a win-win. So I think we are going very much into that direction when it comes to philanthropy, and less so the original model. Needless to say, the original model was easier to undertake, whereas impact investing is not easy to undertake because you have much more work to do.
Unfortunately, Sergio, we have run out of time here. Hope you stay warm in London before you come back to us in Asia. Thank you so much. Sergio Belza, CEO of Aneto Capital.
Thank you very much for the invitation and hosting me. It has been a pleasure.
And thank you. It's been absolutely our pleasure. And to our viewers, if you would like to join the conversation and stay connected to tech and business stories from Taiwan, follow us on our socials. Next, we look at how Taiwan is building its family office businesses and how that can disrupt the country's financial system. Stick around. Taiwan's high net worth population is rapidly growing and racing to build the infrastructure to manage its wealth. As fortunes from technology, manufacturing, and family-run conglomerates soar, the country is seeing a sharp rise in family offices to keep wealth in Taiwan and manage its transfer to the next generation. Now, between 2021 and 2025, the number of high net worth individuals increased 14%. That means there are around 816,000 people in Taiwan with total assets exceeding $1 million. But Taiwan is playing catch up with the sophisticated and established wealth hubs like Singapore and Hong Kong. It is now rolling out new regulations, tax incentives, and oversight frameworks to keep capital at home while also attracting global money. To get an insider's view of family offices here and how they're impacting the country's financial systems, Connected's Hanna spoke with Dr. Andrew Yen. He's the founder of the Panhe Family Office. She asked him what sets Taiwan's family offices apart from those elsewhere in Asia.
Dr. Yen, thank you for joining us today. We will start with a broader question. What does family office do, and what would you describe its role in global wealth management?
很重要的一个原因是在一个家族要去做 succession 就是传承的这件事情上，他发现单一的金融机构或单一的专业机构，它只能是解决部分问题，它没办法解决全部的问题，这是第一个。第二个呢，一个家族它在处理的事务包含家族成员内部的关系、家族内部的凝聚力跟团结， 还有金融资产、家族企业，它方方面面的东西的维度是非常多的，而单一个金融机构没办法扮演这个角色，因为金融机构很简单，你今天是银行，你拿银行牌照就是做银行的事情，证券拿证券牌照就是做证券的事情，它只能做整个家族办公室里面的一部分的 function， 它没办法在最高点站在客户的旁边帮他处理整个家族传承的这个事情，所以发展到一定阶段的家族企业，或者是资产积累到一定程度的家族，它一定是需要一个 family office 帮他去整合这些外部跟内部的这些资源，然后去符合一代、二代、三代他们在未来传承的战略的方向跟未来的这个家族发展的一个蓝图。
When you talk about Rockefeller family, who initiate the family office in the U.S., we have recently seen a merge from the West to the East. What are the differences and unique features of family office operation in Taiwan compared to those in the Asia or among the Chinese community?
应该这样讲，就是说东西方传承的概念有非常大的差异。简单讲，我就讲一个核心的差异，就是你去看，不管是爱马仕家族，或者是洛克菲勒家族，或者是欧美这些上百年的家族，传承到5代8代的，他们在做 succession， 就是传承的过程当中，他们的概念都是代管的逻辑。东方，尤其是亚洲，或者是我们华人，传承的观念呢是家天下的概念，是给予的概念。那我们讲一个最主要的差异呢，就是大陆的客户或台湾的客户，他们去面对传承这件事情的态度是有差异的。例如说，以大陆的客户来说，他可能普遍50岁就开始在谈这些事情，但是台湾的客户呢，70岁还在工厂里面干，还在里面做。他可能交接班这些事情，他觉得说我还干得动。以这两个大的差异，就是说，大陆的客户可能他面临的环境不确定性比较高，所以他很早就去思考这个问题。台湾的客户呢，可能在过去可能疫情前吧，疫情后有很大的转变。就疫情前呢，2020年以前，台湾还是一个非常好的一个发展的一个趋势在那边，所以大部分的一代可能在这方面他知道这个事情很重要，但是不紧急，导致就是说传承交接班的过程，它可能短则5年，长则10年、20年都有可能。那第二个呢，其实比较大的差异就是说，以台湾跟大陆来说，相较于香港跟新加坡，我觉得最大的差异就是税制的差异。税呢是持有资产的、持有财富的成本。你资产量越大，你持有的成本就是所得税，或者是移转的成本，比如说遗产赠与税。虽然大陆现在没有，但台湾一直有，对吧？那香港跟新加坡是没有的，它甚至它的税呢也都比台湾低。所以你会发现呢，可能就台湾客户而言，比较偏家族企业事务型的，他可能会留在台湾这个团队，但是他可能在资产管理方面呢，他可能就会更倾向在海外，因为他们的税是低的。那再加上以台商为主的这一群客户，他长期累积的财富都在海外，所以大部分也会在海外有一个团队帮他们在管他们的海外的资产。
You mentioned earlier that after the COVID-19 outbreaks, Taiwan market seems some differences in terms of family office operations. Please tell us more about it.
这个问题非常非常好，非常关键哈。事实上，疫情前在台湾你听不到这个字，听不到这个词啦，家族办公室基本上没人提。但为什么疫情后呢？有几个因素。第一个困境就是第一代年纪到了，第二代整个家族企业面临到外在的环境必须要转型升级，而二代可能在意愿上跟能力上都有些需要调整。那第三个呢，就是政治的不确定性，就是两岸的一些紧张的状况，也导致你看疫情前两岸交流还是比较顺畅的，但疫情之后呢就不一样了。那所以也大家对未来的这个状况也会有担忧，所以疫情之后台湾这边的 这些家族呢，就对于家族办公室这样的一个形态接受度呢，就非常的高。
Now let's shift our conversation to government policy. Last year, which was 2025, Taiwan government set up the Asian Asset Management Center in Kaohsiung. Local banks are now investing in family office businesses. What impact do you foresee this having? Does the new policy truly reflect the growing demand and expectation in Taiwan's market to keep rich people's money in the country?
第一个，我很开心，政府看到这样的一个趋势跟市场的需求，所以他在高雄专区呢也特别开办了一个业务，就是家族办公室的业务，让有资格的金融机构可以开始在高雄专区开展这个业务。去年到现在呢，坦白讲，刚开始算是一个初期的阶段。目前看到的呢，大部分还是比较给机构感觉有利的政策，但是对于客户的吸引力呢，我觉得现在我看到的还是比较欠缺的。我们回到刚才的问题，就是说，为什么香港跟新加坡在家族办公室这个领域呢，它能够受到大家的那么的重视，或者是大家用行动来投票，就是说，我就把我的家族办公室设在香港或设在新加坡。原因其实很简单，底层的原因只有2个。第一个，政治稳定，不管好或坏，它稳定，它没有不确定性。台湾有优势，但是有一些硬伤。第二个呢，其实就是税负。当然，就外国人来说呢，来台湾，坦白讲，税负还是低的。但对台湾人本人税务，就台湾税务居民的税呢，就坦白讲还是比较重的。
In some cases, with Chinese society, a child born to a concubine may perform better than a child born in wedlock. Could you share some your experience in dealing with such matters?
就同一个母亲，她都可能会有这样的争执，更何况是不同生产线出来的，就不同的母亲，不管你这不同的母亲是同时存在的 relationship， 还是说不同段婚姻造成的，这个的确都是一个很大的问题。那我刚才讲的，就 echo 我刚才讲的这个论点，就是说，如果今天我想要哪一个小孩去承接我这个 business， 你一定要在股权的设计。一定要给他一定的支持，因为在董事会、在股东会，股权等于投票权，这是第一点。第二点呢，一定要提早去做内部的沟通，家族内部的沟通。我把这个事情交给谁，那其他的家族成员能够负担什么样的功能、什么样的权利、什么样的义务，分享什么样的利益？那这个可能在家族，我们常常会讲的家族宪章。就是家族内部的规矩、家规啊、家训啊，或者是家族宪章里面，你就要及早去跟家族内部的成员去做好沟通。所以我们会协助很多客户去开他的家族内部的会议，去形成他们家的家族宪章。然后你及早把这些东西在你还没完全丢出去之前，就把这些东西安排好的话，大家都比较明确的知道他未来在家族内部的发展跟定位，那未来潜在的矛盾就会大大的降低。
All right, we are about running out of time. For the last question, how can family office take a more active role in promoting sustainability, engaging in policy dialogue, and facilitating societal transition to ensure greater social responsibility, such as providing more job opportunity for us?
OK， 其实家族办公室的比较狭隘的目的是协助这个家族能够持续发展。这个家族持续发展，就代表他家族企业持续发展。家族企业持续发展，就代表我提供稳定的工作，以及创造足够的税收给政府，创造足够的劳健保的费用给政府，对吧？然后也照顾更多的员工的家庭。而这个慈善不是只是捐钱，它是去，例如说从教育、从医疗各个方面去促进这个社会能够更好。从第二层意义就是说，整个家族你在社会的这个影响力或贡献度越强大的话，你其实家族会更凝聚。第三个呢，就是说，在家族慈善的这个领域呢，我们现在有很多客户已经开始做到 所谓的影响力投资，他可能去投资一些更多或更远对人类未来发展有帮助的，现在还看不到短期回报的事业上面。这些东西你不知道，也许在30年、50年之后，可能它会成为你这个家族第3代、第4代，它可能整个大的转型升级的一个因子。
That was our reporter, Hanna speaking with the Panhe Family Office founder, Dr. Andrew Yen. Now, if you'd like to join the conversation and stay connected to tech and business stories from Taiwan, follow us on our socials, where we keep you informed, engaged, and connected.